Hi, I'm Shelley Wood and this is my tiny sewing room where I make doll clothes sewing videos. Today I'm going to show you how to make a felt sailor's cap to fit 12-inch dolls and action figures like G.I. Joe, Action Man, Ken dolls, Mattel's WWE professional wrestler toys, and more. But before we begin, please go to my website, shelleywood.com, to download this free printable PDF pattern. Use the pattern to cut out all the felt pieces shown. Align one of the circle's notches with one of the hexagon's notches and stitch them together. Okay, so I'm going to place the circle notch over the top of the hexagon notch just to align them. As you can see, I am stitching by hand. You could use a sewing machine, but with something so tiny, it's really nice to stitch by hand, and I use a backstitch. Align another hexagon's notch with the circle's notch. Okay, so we're going to turn it sideways, and you'll see that notch is at the top now, and I align it with the other hexagon's notch, and then I'm going to stitch these together just like I did before. If you'd like to see my tutorial on how I do the back stitch, look in the links that are in the description below this video on YouTube. So you're going to stitch this one in place too, just like we did the other one. Now I'm using a dark thread so you can see it, but you'll want to use white. Attach the third hexagon the same way we did with the first two. So you look for that notch on the circle, align it with the hexagon notch, insert your needle and thread, and continue to stitch. And once again, my back stitch is in those links in the description. Now follow suit for the fourth hexagon. So we only have one notch left on the circle, and I'm going to reach for that other hexagon and line up that last notch, and then we stitch these together the same way. Okay. There we go. Now align the sides of two hexagons, the top edges, like you see me doing here. So I'm showing you where those top edges are. Okay, right up at the top by the circle. And then I'm going to line up two of those top edges, okay, upper edges, and I'm going to stitch those together. Again, I'll be using the back stitch for all of my stitches. These are the upper sides of the hexagon, okay, or top edges. Stitch these upper sides or top edges together. Here's a closer look at my stitches so you can kind of see where I've stitched. Now align another hexagon's upper side with the one you just finished stitching. Okay, so I'm looking at my hexagons again just to make sure everybody knows what I've finished and where I'm going with this. Okay, so we've lined them up, and now we're going to stitch them together just like we did the other two. Sew these together in exactly the same way. Back stitch again. Let's see what we have so far. It's always good to take another look so you can see if you've done it right. And that looks pretty good. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing. Pinch those together and start stitching. Attach the next upper sides, just like we did with the other two. Continue doing the same until you finish stitching all four of those upper sections. And again, I like to show it to you to see if you're on the right track. It's always nice to have a quick check, see if we're doing this right. now we're sewing that last upper section. It's starting to look like a hat now. Flip it right sides out so you can't see your stitches anymore. So you pretty much just take your thumbs and poke that circle out, just like that. You might want to give it a little stretch. Now the next step is going to seem backwards, but trust me with this. It's going to be from the right side, and we're going to connect 2 hexagons at the end of a set of right side stitches. Okay, so this is what we might think of as the bottom half of the hexagon, the bottom section. All right, and you can see that my stitches are hidden. We're going to stitch along this connection. So these stitches aren't hidden, but the other ones that we can see, they all are. So here's how it looks from the right side now. You can see one set of stitches, but not the others. You're going to fold together 2 more of these hexagon lower sections. Right there. We're going to stitch these together just like we did the other ones. And don't worry that your stitches are showing. It seems backwards, but it's correct. And again, I'm stitching them the same way, so I'm using that back stitch. Continue folding and stitching. Fold and stitch. Until all of these lower edges have been stitched. So I have 3 of the 4 done here. And now I'm going to close off that last bit and stitch these ones together as well. Now your hat looks like this. It still doesn't look like a sailor hat, but if you fold the most recently stitched edges up, you've got a sailor hat. Okay, so we're going to take those edges that have stitching showing, we're going to fold those up. You just take your thumbs and kind of poke. There we go. Get those edges rounded, and it does take a little bit of reshaping, but felt is wonderful to work with for shaping. So you have to kind of work it to make it look very sailor hat-ish. And you want to kind of hide those stitches, the last stitches that we did. And look at that, it's really starting to look like a Gilligan hat. I love it. And now you're ready to try it on a dollar action figure. For more free printable sewing patterns to fit dolls and action figures of many shapes and all different sizes, please remember to visit my website, shelleywood.com. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my videos and my free patterns, please share them on social media. It actually helps my website grow when you help spread the word.